Been a day. What's up, y'all? Hopefully, give me a thumbs up. Let me know y'all can hear me. I hate asking that on the stream, but given the day it's been one of them days. My tea's not even warm anymore. I'm sad. Anyway, assuming y'all can hear me this time. Today is day 24 of the patron drive, and it's probably the most exhausted I've been of the whole thing. I was all fired up like 3 hours ago, and then computer issues. Whatever. You don't care. It doesn't matter. All right. So, I am curious. Let me, you know what? I probably ought to do it this way. A moment. Okay. Give me a second, y'all. Let me fix some stuff. Get that out of the way. Get that over there. I think that's good. There we go. All right. Apparently we're working. All right. That makes me happy. So, oh, that's right. That's what I was gonna. I didn't do the poll again today, did I? On this one. I didn't. Oh, well. So I'm curious then. Just remove that. There we go. Problem solved. There. I know it's not terribly exciting, but it's been eventful, y'all. So there we go. I have that. We're almost there. And now I'm finally situated. There we go. I hate my software, my computer. All right, let's do this. So, hopefully, y'all have watched our top 50. I mean, it's 11 hours, which is maybe excessive. I'll grant you that. But maybe not, because it seems those of you that have watched it and have at least commented have really enjoyed the commentary and the discussion around the... Anybody count how many there are between the four of our list? I have not, but it's a lot of games. And so I'm curious how many of y'all have watched those or plan to watch those. And inevitably, we were going to get some feedback of, hey, why isn't Game X on there? All right. I don't track my plays. I use YouTube to kind of do that for me. But I would say I've played a couple thousand different games. Probably more than that, but over the course of my gaming career. And of that, a very tiny percentage can make your top 50. The top 50 is the cream of the cream of the cream of the top. So, I figured, since y'all are asking, and you want to know, oh, where is Game X? It's probably in the next 50. So I did something I swore I would never do, and I actually put these numbered. Now, it's kind of arbitrary. Kinda. Look, what's the difference between your number 98 and 87? Yeah, it's 11 games. I get it. But really, what is it? It's where I felt like it should go today. The end. But, top 100. Now, I didn't ask any of the guys or gals in the group to do a top 100 because top 50 is hard enough. And top 100 is really hard. Although, I would argue that higher up you go, the harder it is to make the cuts. So I originally, how I made my top 50 list is, hold on, I should probably point out, this is going to be a bit of a ramble session because it's just me talking to y'all. Today, it's not me bouncing off of other people. So it's going to be slower. And for the patrons out there, which are a lot of y'all, that are excited for this game tonight, Beer Pioneer. I'm canceling this tonight because this is 4 hours later than I planned on doing, and I need a break ahead of Stressbotics tomorrow, so I apologize. No beer pioneered, and I know what I said earlier, but I can't. And do this justice. So, that out of the way. There's one more thing. I did bump that number already, and here's the thing. I think I actually was one short yesterday because there's been no one new. No new patrons. So this is just cheers to all 790 folks around planet Earth that believe in what we do here at Heavy Cardboard. So thank you to all of y'all. I really appreciate the support. I would love to get that number to 850 by the end of the patron drive. I'll settle for 800, but I'm hoping for 850 by the end of the patron drive. All right? So, when I made my top 50, how I go about making my top 50, I'm curious. Y'all can tell me. I'm going to read some of it. I'm going to kind of go in a bit of, of a monologue here for a little while, and then I'll catch up and watch. But how I go through the process is I think of games that could be in my top 50, even remotely be in my top 50. Even if there's no chance, but maybe. So I start making a list. And then I go through the streams. That was weird. What the hell was that? Oh, that was me. Live. That's funny. No. 850 will not get a Davis tattoo. 1,000 will, but all in due time, Derek. So I go through what games we've streamed. And then after I hit that, I'm worried I might have forgotten some. So then I take a peek at older top 50s. Not because I'm trying to have help ordering them. It's, have I forgotten anything? And I still forgot a couple. And they'll show up on this list today. So, all right, that's everybody confirming that I canceled tonight's patron stream. So sorry. Anyway, so I go through, and my list came out to 97 games. And out of that 97, I then whittled it down, starting with my top 20. That top 20 was 33 games. And then I narrowed that down, and that was hard. That was so hard. I went to a couple of the games and apologized to them. I know that's dumb. I get it. They're inanimate objects. I get it. But I still apologized to them. So my number 21 and through number 25, you can go look at what those are. I can't remember. I know one of them was Wildcatters. I felt bad because they didn't make the top 20. So there's that. So once I finally got down to the top 20, then I had to figure out, okay, out of that top 20, I had 13 left over that were clearly in the top 50. And then I had to figure out what else made the top 50. And then I think it was 5 or 6 games just missed. The final cuts were really hard. Well, I ended up with 97 games. And then I knew when we went through our top 50, people were like, oh, why isn't, I'm so bummed I didn't, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I have no idea if anyone's going to give two shits about whether or not this game is in Edward's top 100, because let's face it, a lot of y'all appreciated other people's top 50s more than mine, which is awesome. I'm just one dude. I get it. But I wasn't going to ask them to make another list. They did enough work. This is my job, not theirs. They had fun with it and they wanted to do it, but I wasn't going to ask them anymore. So I went down and then I went through 47 games that was left. And I was like, how do I feel about this? And I was like, no. A couple of them got removed, which dropped me to like 94, 95. And then there were a couple that I'd forgotten, and then I added some others. And then I was like, okay, I have my top 100, cool. And then somebody was like, you should actually number those. And I was like, come on. Who cares if it's number 51 or number 100? No one cares. Y'all care. So I did that. So I spent an inordinate amount of time doing what I felt was an arbitrary thing, but wasn't arbitrary because y'all do care about it, and some people actually this matters to. So I dedicated the time and I took it seriously. And there is one cheat in this whole list that I feel okay about, and I think y'all will as well when I explain it. But outside of that, I did break one of my rules. My general rules when making this list are: game has to be published. Speakeasy, Stressbotics Odyssey. Stressbotics Odyssey is sort of published, but not like it's on its way to the We're doing our big stream of it tomorrow, but I didn't include it because I put it in the same category as like Speakeasy. Look, I know that Ken and Shrey disagree, but whatever. That's my rule. So it's got to be published. That's number one. Number two, no expansions. Both of those rules I followed today with this list. And number three was no filler. Well, I broke that on this one. And the reason I did that is because this is my favorite, my top 100 games. Does this mean it's the best 100 games? I mean, you could make that case in all seriousness, but this is my list. So I decided, you know what? And when we open it up to the herd, I'm not going to limit them to non-fillers. Y'all can use fillers on yours as well. All right. All right. This is my top 100. Hopefully this works and doesn't crash. It's the best I got. So let's explore this journey together, shall we? So, see if I have a little note to myself here. It says number first. Because of the way the graphics work on my software, I have to do that. I'm going to inevitably screw this up at some point today. So I apologize. It's been a long 3 weeks. It's been awesome, but I'm exhausted today. So let's get through this. Let's have some fun. I need that energy from y'all today. All right? All right. So here we go. Starting off, did the number first. That's a plus. Look, I'm starting off well. All right? Number 100. Starting off with a filler. Cascadia. Now, I didn't get publishers and designers, because if I wasn't doing that in my top 20, I'm not doing it for the rest of the 100. All right? So, Cascadia. Now, there are a lot of tile-laying games out there, but there's something about Cascadia that just hits for me. This is... Given my disposition and my mood and my energy today, Cascadia is the perfect game for a game like today. It is super chill. It is pretty. It makes me think of being out west in the mountains and all of that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's water and there's, yeah, I get all that. But to me, my happy place is up in the mountains in the forest. And Cascadia really is just my pleasant, just enjoyable game. I haven't played any of the expansions yet. Yeah, it's the Zen of board games. Exactly, Chris. This is just, it's my chill game. I could get eviscerated in this game. That's fine. I just enjoy it. It's pleasant. It's chill. It's not a taxing game mentally. And it's just fun. I just really, really enjoy it. Now, I see Will Be Playing says Harmonies replace Cascadia for me. Y'all know what I mean with Cascadia, I assume. It's just your super chill tile lane, just, right? Could be patchwork, could be, whatever. So Calico is another, right? But to me, Cascadia just hits right. My number 100, Cascadia. All right. My number 99 game. Obsession. I can't help but remember Tony doing Sauvage when we talked about this previously. Now, Obsession does what a lot of games aim to do, but it actually does. And this game takes its theme and just hits. It's a honest to God theme and not a setting. It is a very pleasant, very enjoyable, pretty standard Euro in a lot of ways that just hits with the theme perfectly. And it was clearly a passion project by the designer, and it just works. It works well. It's pleasant. It's enjoyable. Alyssa says much higher on my list, but glad to see it. See? Yeah. We've featured this a number of times. I don't know what else to say about its Obsession other than it nails the melding of theme and mechanisms really, really well, and is always a pleasant experience. So, Obsession, my number 99. 98, little nostalgia. I haven't played it in a hot minute. But that's Brides and Bribes. This game contributed to one of the best evenings of board gaming I've ever had. Yeah. And I haven't played this since Denver. I would love to play this with the Boston crew. I think this would be a hoot. I think this would be an absolute blast to play with this group. It's thematic as well as mean, and just a blast to play. A lot of fun. Although I will say there's a certain bride that used to live up on our Glory to Rome board. I don't know where she went. She left. She got tired of hanging out. So I'm going to have to find that before we can play Brides and Bribes again. But I would love to play it again with this group. I think this would be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a really, really solid Euro that just hits right. But also hella mean. So my number 98. Hold on. I probably ought to be deleting these this way. Oh, yeah. How about we do that? My number 98, Brides and Bribes. All right. Moving up, 97. Arguably the best value that when it released of any game in the history of modern board games. That's Teotihuacan. Dice drafting. Fantastic production value for what was, I think, a $30 or $35 MSRP, which is ridiculous. For the amount of game that you get in this box. Arguably, my favorite of the T games that started out, not including Zolkin, but from the T games here from Board and Dice, Teotihuacan, really, really enjoyed this game. I don't play it much. I mean, I would argue a lot of these I'm not going to play much because of the simple turnover that we get here with heavy cardboard. It's inevitable. But a game that if somebody was like, hey, you want to play Teo? Yeah, yes, I do. I would be down for that. So that is my number 97, Teotihuacan. Speaking of the letter T, my number 96, Tramways. Here's a game that I don't hear anybody talking about anymore. It is Alban Viard's take on an Age of Steam system that he designed himself. And it's not as clean as Age of Steam. I think Alban would agree with that statement. But it's a very good game and really hard in a different way than Age of Steam. And it is, apparently Tramways is out of print. Now, okay. Well, that would explain why a lot of people aren't discussing it or talking about it. Fair enough. But I recently, when I say recently, I mean within a year. I did the engineer workbook, the second one, and that kind of reminded me about tramways and how good of a game it can be from 1 to 5 players. I would argue it is hard, and it can be me in all the ways that Age of Steam is hard and mean. Tramways is, although I will say there's a bit more rules complexity in Tramways than there is in Age of Steam. But once you familiarize yourself with the rules in Tramways, I think it gets out of the way, and then it becomes a game of, okay, I know the rules are out of the way. Now it's a matter of how do I do the things that I want to do and not just how can I do it, right? So, yeah, really, really good game that, again, feels like it's forgotten about. Whether it's because it's out of print or not, feels like it's forgotten about. So, my number 96, Tramways. Moving up, 95, City of the Big Shoulders. I believe this is getting a second printing. I'm not sure if it's a second printing or a second edition. Now, full disclosure, I've mentioned this before. The designer is a friend of mine, but also I have watched this game grow. There are 2 games. No, really, it's just this one. I was going to put Stressbotics in this, but no, that's not true. This is the game that I have watched grow from a very, very rough idea to pieces cut up on hand cut up on cardboard, like think corrugated box, up to the printed final edition. So this has kind of a special place in my heart. I think I have 3 or 4 versions of prototypes over in the library that are useless. They're never going to see the light of day, but it's kind of almost a museum piece of watching the evolution of this game grow up. So that is to say that I'm partial to this game with that. So apparently they are fixing some stuff, which is an improvement. That's good, because there are a couple of, niggling issues that people had discovered with City of the Big Shoulders. I would argue that a lot of the games that are on this list aren't perfect, but are still really enjoyable to play, and that's where City of the Big Shoulders falls for me. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with what is, I guess, a second edition. So that's encouraging to hear. So my number 95, City of the Big Shoulders. So my number 94 is a stand-in for a couple of games. So I have Advanced Civ here because I think the cover is just prettier. It's more evocative. But you can make the case that Mega Civ, probably realistically, if we're going to play it, we're going to play Mega Civ, which is just an evolution of Advanced Civ. This is the con game for me that's the only place I'm going to play this game is at a convention. Whether this is play it, 9 players. Although, to be clear, we did play it at a game day here at HCHQ, off camera, obviously, but we did play it one day, which was awesome. Before Alyssa headed up to the Great White North, we did bust this out, but for the most part. Whether it's a 9-player up to an 18-player ridiculous game of Mega Civ, I like playing this one. It is an experience that I enjoy once or twice a year, probably not more than that, but it is a negotiation game with a whole lot of screw people over and knock them out of the running, and now they're stuck for 8 hours just going through the motions, and sucks to be you. But is it worth it as a once in a blue moon con experience? For sure. Yeah. So Mega Civ, Advanced Civ, Eastern Civ, Western Civ, whatever version you want. This is my stand-in for all of those. I think the Eastern and Western isn't called Civ. It's called something else. Jakob, I'm sure, will be able to chime in and tell me this. But yeah. Yeah, oh, John said that was my first time coming to game day at HCHQ for John was Civ Day. Well, John, I feel like we've lived up to what to expect here at HCHQ. Come on, get your feet wet, right? So my number 94, Mega Civ, Advanced Civ, Civ. Oh, Eastern Empires, Western Empires. That's it. Thank you, Normal. That's it. So Mega Civ is a better game than Advanced Civ. That's valid, but the artwork is better. But y'all know what I mean when I talk about those, right? So that's my number 94. Now, before we get to my number 93, again, if you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe. It really does. That is something you can do for the channel. Something you can do for yourself. It is our Patreon drive. So right here, patreon.com/HCHQ. You get a bunch of benefits. You get the Slack channel. You get a plethora of patron-only streams that we do. Sorry about tonight's again. In addition to that, if you do it while we're streaming during this Patreon drive, you get to make that light blink, and then you get a shout out. I mean, that's kind of cool. You get your name in the scroll. And in addition to that, you help the channel. You really do. It literally helps keep lights on and helps us continue to improve the quality of the content here. Oh, even if it's not hot, it's still tepid. It's still good. Oh, it's good. Ah, that's good. So please, like, subscribe, consider supporting the show. I guess it's over here on that side. Patreon.com/HCHQ. Moving on to number 3. Gonna be a surprise to a lot of y'all. This is a solitaire. Uh-oh. Don't you dare. Okay. I just missed. We're good. Heading Forward is a solitaire-only game from Hollandspiel. And I forget, and I can't read who the designer is on this one. This one has stuck with me probably more than any other game that I've ever played with. And I think it's because the theme and because of what you're doing in the game. So this game is designed to show the experience of somebody recovering from a traumatic brain injury. And I mean, look, I like my edgy themes, you know, whether that's The Other Side of the Hill, whether that's John Company, or similar, edgy in that regard, right? And showing where the board game hobby has grown to be. But then there's stuff like Molly House, which we're going to be featuring on Sunday. Really looking forward to playing that some more, streaming that for y'all. As well as a game like Heading Forward, that as somebody who takes mental health very, very seriously, even though this is recovering from a traumatic brain injury and a little bit removed from mental health stuff, and somebody who struggles with that, I'd say on a daily basis, you know, has spent years in therapy and such. But the using the spoons metaphor in this game for like your ability to deal or cope with things has just really, really resonated with me, and it really stuck with me. And is this a game I'm going to play often? No, but it's a game that stuck with me a lot, and just to this day, from when I first played it, I felt like it was an important game to me to include on this list. So that is heading forward. My number 93. All right, moving up. Number 92, Galactic Cruise. Now, we played the hell out of this game when we had the prototypes of this in support of their very successful Kickstarter. And this is a game that very much you see the bones of it being a Vital Lacerda inspired, Ian O'Toole inspired game. And I like the whimsy in this game. I like the mechanisms in the game. I like the theming of it and how everything works. Even though I feel like it's Disney cruises in space is kind of how I imagine this one. And I think it's released. So, but yeah. So if this broke my rule, see, Molly House, I know people are starting to get, but not, it's right. If we did this list a month later, Molly House would be in there. This definitely would be in here. Shasbotics would be in here. But the fact is, we're not doing this a month later. So maybe I skirted that rule a little. But yeah. So Galactic Cruise. Now, I know there are 2 expansions. We've messed around with the expansions a little bit. That begs the question, how much is too much? You're going to see in tomorrow's game where that line may or may not be. And so those expansions definitely add to the game. Are they vital? No, I don't think so. But do they enhance the game? I think so. But Galactic Cruise, a Vital Lacerda. If you enjoy his games, you're going to enjoy Galactic Cruise more often than not. If you don't, you probably won't. I think that's probably a fair statement. But played a lot of it and probably got my fill of the game for a while. But I'm getting back to that point to where, like, if somebody is like, hey, you want to play Galactic Cruise again? I'd be like, yeah, okay. I think it's been long enough now. I took a big enough break. So yeah. So I wanted to make sure to include this one on here. My number 92, Galactic Cruise. Now we're up to number 91. That's La Famiglia. This was definitely on, I know it was on Ken's list. Not sure if it was on Derek's. I know they both really enjoy the game. The artwork is beautiful. I love the theming on this, or the setting, although I feel like the theming works, or the theming works, even if you're going and setting discs to acquire actions isn't thematic in a mafia ping, pew pew boom boom kind of way. Doesn't really work. The artwork on this is absolutely stunning, both on the box as well as the board and all the components. It has a very, very clever, that I know that that I know battle system that I sometimes, as you are wont to do, whether it's in poker or in games like this, level yourself into thinking that your opponent is thinking in this, that, or another, and they're like, no, I just wasn't. It's a partnership game that apparently in the expansion is going to be able to play less than 4 players. It's 4-player only, so that is a limiting factor on this one. There you go. It's Derek's number 51. Just missed his top 50. But yeah, this was a pretty big sleeper hit with the heavy cardboard crew, myself included. So my number 91, La Famiglia. All right, we got our first 10 out of the way, y'all. Cheers. Well done. What do y'all think? The first 10. All right. Have a good one, Shazira. So this was number 36 on Ken's list. La Famiglia was. Okay. All right. There's an expansion coming for 2 players, y'all are telling me. Okay. Have a good night. We'll be playing. I apologize with all the technical issues today. That today's stream started 4 hours late, so or 4.5 hours late, whatever it was. I apologize. So all right, obsession too low, solid. Jury's still out. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Obligatory. I can't believe Game X isn't in Edward's top 90 to 100. I know. Jared, disappointed in me. La Famiglia thought would have been higher. Again, you asked me on a Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Maybe it's different. So here we go. All right, moving on. Oh, I'm so glad this game made my list. Number 90, Barrage. There were a lot of people that were really upset that this didn't make any of our lists. Now, I've only played this game 2.5 times. The half is a demo at Essen, the year it came out. And the 2 times are the getting ready for the stream and then the stream. So that tells you how long it's been since I've played Barrage. That said, I really enjoyed it. But it's one of those games that just, after we did the playthrough of it, it just, for any number of reasons, never hit the table. Now, a lot of these games that go up on Kickstarter and stuff, we play them well in advance of when they release, so they don't hit the table for a year plus. And sometimes when they do release, either they have issues or it just falls by the wayside for one reason or another. This one had some issues upon its release. And so when it released, it just never had, nobody was super motivated, it seemed, in our group to get this bad boy back to the table. And then it just gets passed over because it just gets lost in the churn. So that's not to make an excuse. That's just the reality of how things happened and how they happen as well. So this is one, John added to the list, that I would absolutely like to get back to the table. Water Grid, right? Or as Kyle said the other day, what was it? Is water a right for people? Question mark. So yeah, I think that's it. All right, later, Kyle. Robert doesn't think it's really a mean game. Robert's playing a different game than I am then in that case. So yeah. But yeah, so Barrage, my number 90. Could be higher if I play it more. My number 89, Beyond the Sun. Recommended with the expansion. I think it makes the game better for sure. But I love tech trees. It's one of the reasons I love Civilization games. This is Tech Tree the game in a lot of ways. The expansion absolutely enhances the map part of the game and makes it a better game. So while I won't say it's mandatory, I will say it enhances the experience. So really enjoyed this. Now, the question I have, and the reason this isn't necessarily higher, is because I played Beyond the Horizon. Beyond the Horizon, kind of the sister game to this, and I've only played that once. And I would like to play it more to be able to figure out where both of those will settle out. And I'm not sure on that. So 89 felt a little low for me on this, but also ultimately I was okay with it. So Beyond the Sun, i.e. Tech Tree the game, which is a compliment. Moving on to number 88, we have a little Haben Gut, reprinted as The Rich and the Good. I've never seen the new version, never played the new version. So everything that I speak to, I don't know any changes they made to Haben Gut. But Haben Gut is a pure, pretty pure, maybe pure is a strong word. It is a very boiled down, much like how Furnace is a pure resource conversion game, auction game. This is a commodity speculation manipulation game that has a little bit extra in there in that you're donating to charity. And that hook on the donation to charity is whoever at the end of the game has donated the least to charity, and I think it's actually the church, we'll call it charity, is out of the game no matter how well you did. So if you're too stingy or frugal, if you will, then you just can't win. You're out, which I think is such a very clever mechanism and a game of blind bidding chicken that is glorious. And you get 4 opportunities to donate. So if you donate hard and big early, you're like, I don't need to donate more later. Or do you? Because then you see other people donating and donating, and you're like, oh no, did I donate enough? And that's just a small part of the game. The other cleverness of Habengut is the fact that you get to see some portion of the manipulation that's going to take place in a round. Now, you know the manipulation, but you don't know how the manipulation is going to work. So let me explain this. Imagine a 5-player game sitting around the table. You have these row of cards, this hand of cards held up by a card holder in between players. So if Derek is sitting to my left, there's a card holder that he and I are privy to. Then to my right, there's a card holder that me and someone else is privy to. And then so on and so forth all around the table in between. So in a 5-player game, I know 40% of the information out there. But even with knowing that 40% of the information, I don't know exactly how that information is going to get implemented. Because each card has some number and it's a range, either plus or minus up to 6, I think. So you could play it for, if it has a +3 on it, then, or they're even numbers, I believe. So it's a +4 on it. So you either play it as the +4 for that commodity, it goes up 4 steps in value, or you could play it as a half value. So every time you play 1 from this and 1 from that. So each card rack holder gets played 1 card by each player every turn. So on your turn, you play 2 cards, 1 from that rack, 1 from that rack, 1 at full value, 1 at half value. So that half value is arguably just as important as that full value. And yeah, Habengut is so good. It's so good. You can buy and sell. It's such a good speculation game. It is, I don't know if it's the best one, but it's certainly in the discussion. So Habengut, my number 88. Yeah, I do love this game. Catching up, reading chat now. All right, moving on. My number 87, the gear game, Zulkin, the Mayan calendar. This is one of those that got added after the fact, right? I told you I had 97 originally. This is one that got added because I realized I missed it. Whoops. Wouldn't have made my top 50, obviously, because it came in at 87. We talked about this quite a bit earlier, and this is a game with hidden depth and definitely rewards repeated plays. And when it first came out, broke my brain. And oh my God, that gear time mechanism is so unique and so well implemented. It's hard to beat this one for what it does. It does really, really well. And as soon as somebody provides a painted gear or set of painted gears, plural, we can stream this one. That's all it's waiting on because mine are currently unpainted, and I'm not a painter, so somebody else's copy we need to use for this one. But yeah, number 87, Zolkin. Arguably the best tea game. Fair. My number 86 comes with an impassioned plea. If there's anybody out there with $500 burning a hole in your pocket, Heavy Cardboard would greatly appreciate your purchasing a copy of Modern Art, the Stamps Edition, and sending it to the address that's down below. Please. This is my number one Grail game of all time. Yeah, the Stamps version specifically. Looks like that. Go look on BGG when we're done. It's really beautiful. I covet this one. Feel guilty about that. Okay, I'm over it. But yeah, I'm never going to acquire it unless somebody gifts it to me. So I'm just saying. My birthday's coming up. HeavyCon's coming up. Just saying. Birthday's June 8th. Just throwing that out there. So yeah, the game I'm talking about, Modern Art. One of the very best pure auction games in existence. And this is a pure auction game to where it's just auctions all the time. And regardless of what edition you have, it is a fantastic game. It is fragile. Players can, if not break the game, they can make the game a less than ideal experience if they play exceptionally poorly or don't buy in the game. Yeah, but that said, this is such a clever and just amazing auction game. One of Knizia's Hall of Fame 3, with it being Medici, Modern Art, and Raw. So yeah, Modern Art, regardless of what edition. Unless it's the Stamps edition. It would be higher if I had that. No. When that number, it hasn't moved today, but when that number reaches 1,000, I get a tattoo. Has nothing to do with stamps. Just saying. I'll never own stamps unless someone gifts it. But man, that would be a bucket list Grail. Just saying. It's beautiful. The second Grail, by the way. Look, it's a tangent. It's my show. Where are you going? You're watching. You're enjoying, right? And partly, I imagine y'all enjoy these. Some of y'all enjoy this. Some of y'all hate when I do these little interludes. But if you're feeling exceptionally generous on that note, you're looking to get Edward maybe his number 2 Grail. Or maybe you get 1 and 2. So be it. That is the Hungarian edition of Twilight Struggle. So the Stamps is the Japanese edition of Modern Art. The Hungarian edition of Twilight Struggle, there are 40 copies in existence. And number 1 is still in shrink, and with the artist / graphic designer, he has it. He and I have conversed. I have asked him if he has any knowledge about how to go about getting any of them, and he says no. I have number 1 in shrink. I will be keeping that. But if he knows of any, he said he would let me know. But when they usually go on sale, they're $400 plus. Yeah. Have a good one, Chris. But yeah. So go check that out. Has a Fallout feel to Twilight Struggle. I love Fallout. Oh, I actually really enjoy Twilight Struggle. But yeah, so Hungarian edition, Twilight Struggle. Grail number 2. That's cheap. Shroom Poof. That's cheap. I think there's a copy of Stamps on eBay right now for $2,200. I think 2,250 is what I think. Is it in Hungarian? I believe it is. But it doesn't matter. It's fine. We'd use pay stubs, but 100% we would play that puppy on stream. I've actually reached out to some people that say they own it and asked if I could just borrow it just to stream it. Because GMT allowed it and then they didn't. So there are 40 copies of it in existence. That's, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Number 85, beautiful game. Speaking of which, Senkore. It's something of Mansa Musa. It's Senkore, you all know that. This is Fabio Lopiano's. So, funny story on this game. We streamed it fairly recently, I think. And when I first played it, total miss for me. We played it at the Gathering of Friends, which I'm looking forward to that next month. But we played it with Fabio just ran the game. I don't think he played in that. It was me, Derek, Sarah. I can't remember who the fourth player was. And I just bounced off this game. Like, I don't know if I was tired or, sometimes that happens. We're human. But I was like, eh. And then Fabio gave me his pre-production copy. That's the one we streamed. And it sat on the shelf for a while. Some people were, it wasn't Derek, it was Shrey. It was me, Shrey, and Sarah, and someone else. Sorry about that. Anyway, sat on the shelf, and then Shrey, I think, asked, hey, can I borrow it? Because I want to get this played again, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, I really like that game. We should stream it. And I was like, all right. I mean, that's fine. And then we did a pre-play, a patron-only stream of the pre-play. And I was like, oh, this is better than I remember it. And then we streamed it. And I really liked it. And I think we've played it once more since then, I think. Or maybe we streamed it a second time. I forget. So, yeah, I've gotten quite smitten with this game. It's beautiful artwork. It's a really nice production. It is too big for what it is. Like the table footprint, like that's my biggest gripe about this game is the footprint is just massive. It doesn't need to be this big. And outside of that, and we talked about this the other day when we streamed Le Havre. Oh God, was that last night? They're all running together. Kyle actually brought this up. It was because Senkore's sitting over there. He may have seen it, and that's why he chose this. But he was like, I would rather play Senkore over Le Havre, even though I really enjoyed my experience. It was his first game of Le Havre. He says it's a more modern Euro. It has a better, graphic design. Well, not so much graphic design, but just an aesthetic. It's beautiful. And it's more in the piling mechanism on top of mechanism, modern Euro, as opposed to a Le Havre that is a lot more tight in the presentation, both physically on the table as well as mechanically. Just it doesn't have the sprawl that a lot of modern Euros have, whether it's from Vital Lacerda, David Terzi, or Fabio Lopiano or others. They have that sprawl. I love them, obviously. Y'all know that. I love a lot of Vital's games. And clearly, Fabio's made a good impression after having a bad impression. And this is why I feel it's not a hard, fast rule. But I do feel that if you bounce off of a game and you can't quite put your finger on why, you probably ought to try it again. And you try it again, maybe you were tired. Maybe you were just in a bad mood. Like yesterday was a rough day for me. So if I had played a new game, whatever I played yesterday, I would have done again, right? Like I got really frustrated at the tutorial in Atlantic Chase when I did a patron-only stream of that earlier in the day. But I digress. The point is, your frame of mind, your mood, maybe you haven't eaten, maybe somebody you were at the table with you don't like necessarily, or they were grumpy, and maybe it just didn't make it work. Sankoria is kind of the perfect role model for me, or the example of that. That the first, like I like Shrey, I like Sarah, I like Fabio. Just maybe I was just tired. So yeah. So if you're like, oh, I don't like this mechanism or something like that, and it's more tangible why you didn't like a game, okay, that I get. Then maybe this doesn't apply. But it's just a good reminder that, hey, if you bounced off of it and you can't quite put your finger on it, you ought to try it again, because you might overlook a game that you really, really enjoy. And that's what happened with me with Sankoria. So my number 85, Sankoria. This is going to be fun. My number 84, Ark Nova. I have found you either really like Ark Nova or you really don't. It's not without its flaws. In fact, I saw this being played in the Gathering. So I don't go to a ton of conventions anymore. And so the Gathering of Friends, I remember seeing Tom Lehman and his wife sitting down playing this. They love Ark Nova. And wow, that's a big compliment, because I hold Tom Lehman in extremely high regard and his opinion on games. And like I said, it has its flaws, but there is so much about this game that I really enjoy with Ark Nova. I love the just the card mechanism of how the slotting, and as it works its way up, it gets more valuable or more powerful. I think that is such a clever mechanism. I understand that Civ did it first. I get it. But it's done very well in Ark Nova. I love the dual scorings in Ark Nova. I think that is a very, very clever mechanism. You know, you have the two, and once they intersect, you go positive. And we played a game somewhat recently that did the same thing. Oh, it was Mennefer also has one that does that. Although I like the way Ark Nova does it better. I actually like the polyomino aspect of the board and fitting all that. I like the animals. Like, I like the theme on it. The theme on it grabs me, for sure. I think the implementation, just the table presence of the game, is nice. I don't like the 72,438,000 amount of cards and how some strategies aren't viable because there's too many cards. But that said, the expansion I enjoy with this as well. And on that note, it's I should point out that I saw Tom and his wife playing this. They were playing with the expansion, but they house rule some of the expansion stuff because they really don't like the way some of it works. Okay. And that's the cool thing about board games. You can do that. And Ark Nova is just fun. Yeah, like, I hate using that term because what I consider fun, somebody else might not, and so it's a very ambiguous term. So I try not to use it, but yeah, it just hits right for me. Kind of like how Cascadia hits right for me, but obviously this is in a bigger game, more strategic, harder game. And so but it just hits just right for me. I haven't played the newest map pack, so that's cool. More to check out. Yeah. Is it flawless? No. It has its flaws. A lot of these games do. But do I really enjoy my plays of it? Yeah, I do. I enjoy it more than a lot of the folks here at HCHQ do. This is one that has its detractors for sure. There are some people who are like, nope. Because I don't think, y'all tell me, was this on any of our top 50s? Derek says it's in his top 100 as well. But I don't think this was anybody. I'm almost positive it wasn't Shrey's. I don't think it was in Ken's either. But yeah, so anyway, Arc Nova, my 84. More Hollandspiel love coming up. Hi, Alyssa. So my number 83. Oh, wow. That's hella late. Sorry about that. That ain't happening today. Wow. Okay. Anyway, sorry. My 83 is Forex. Commodity or foreign exchange. So literally the arbitrage, the game. But yeah, this is I wish I had brought up, if I knew where 4X was right off the top of my head, I would go get the box. Because the back of that box is just something else. If you get a chance, I'm pretty sure there's a picture of the back of the box on BGG. You know what? Where are you going? Hold on. Hold on. There it is. It's the first picture. Ahem. Y'all ready for this? Here we go. 4X. This is going to be long, but it's worth it. 4X. Why on earth did you buy this game? This is a game about currency trading. Each currency only has value relative to 6 other currencies, and when you strengthen the value of one currency, it weakens every other currency, but only relative to the strengthened currency. Imagine the excitement. Before your turn, $1 is worth 2 Japanese yen. And £1 is worth $4. But then, through a savvy investment, you strengthen the US dollar. And now, $1 is worth 2.5 yen. And £1 is worth $3. One of the other players has made a contract with the bank on a previous turn to buy 6 yen for $3. When that contract is resolved, it must be per the original terms. $3 for 6 US yen, even though the buying power of $3 would now net somebody 7.5 yen. They have sustained a ruinous loss. Your opponent gazes upon the board, nodding in solemn but rapturous appreciation of your cutthroat instincts and superior intellect. Or they wonder why they let you pick the game tonight, or why they invite you to game night, or why they married you. This is a nerdy, opaque butterfly effect game, possibly the nerdiest, opacest butterfly effectist game in your entire collection. It is about the driest and least interesting topic imaginable. It has a thing called a contract queue, and every investment pays the same thing, $2 of the indicated currency, regardless of the currency's value. Yet, somehow, some investments are significantly better than others. You can be absolutely vicious to your opponents, but it will almost always be by accident, like a compliment that went horribly wrong and ballooned into an all-night argument that lingers uncomfortably for days and weeks. This is a game that feels suspiciously like math, only if it's a math where the values are X and ever-shifting, elusive, and transitory. Why on earth did you buy this game? Because all of that sounds like fun to you for some reason. And that's okay. It sounds like fun to us, too. It always has. Dating back to our very first prototype nearly 7 years ago, we've always believed in 4X. It hasn't been easy. Publisher after publisher told us the game would never sell. The big guys turned us down. The medium-sized guys turned us down. The little guys turned us down. We even talked to one of those super niche 18xx publishers who felt that there wasn't a market for this even amongst their customers. When your stuff is too nerdy even for trained gamers, you got a problem. Sometimes it felt like we were the only people in the world who could possibly be interested in it. That feeling persisted when we started Hollenspiel. And when we started, we had no intention of dusting off this old weird game of Amabel's. We'll do it right here. But then the supportive gamers like yourself convinced us that we're not alone. That there existed a special, peculiar audience for a special, peculiar game like this one. An audience made up of special, peculiar people. And here you are. You're holding the box in your hands, reading these words. You're interested in this game, not despite its dry, weird nerdiness, but because of it. You bought this game because it's a game for you, and you are who we published it for. You are the reason we publish games in the first place. So thank you very much for being you, and happy gaming from all of us at Hollenspiel. You're in. I know. You know nothing about the game other than that. And now you want a copy too. You're our type of people. Hi. Just catching up. And that's right. Cole Worley did do the artwork on 4X. That is true. Yeah, I mean that's the best intro to a game that I could possibly fathom. In all seriousness, I have not played the sequel. I have not. I need to talk to Amabel and see if they can send it. So anyway, I think I've summed up why 4X is in my top 100. So my number 83, 4X. Oh. Number 82, Deluvia Project. All right, show of hands. Who here has played Deluvia Project? That's one hand. Who here has even heard about Deluvia Project? Oh, wait. I'm going to have some more tea. I'm really enjoying my tea today. Later, Gustav. So it seems like maybe one of y'all have played this. It seems like Brianna. Yeah, I think Brianna and I are the only two that have played this. So Brianna, help me out, because this is the one game on my list that I can't really speak too much on how it plays. I haven't played this since the last time we streamed it. And I remember being so utterly and completely smitten with this game. It rekindled my joy of the game. The ridiculous black foreboding round marker notwithstanding. But past that, I can't remember the game. It's been a few years. And yeah. So I got nothing for you. This is me being totally honest with y'all. But I knew that this was absolutely in my initial top 97. But I can't remember playing. I remember aspects of the game, but I cannot remember how to play the game. So, John, add it to the list. This one gets replayed again. But yeah, I know it probably sounds unintuitive that if you can't remember how to play the game, why the hell would it be in your top 100? Because the feeling of utter surprise at how much I enjoyed my last play of this game stuck with me. The reason it's probably not higher is because we haven't had a chance to get it to the table again since then. That's just the truth. That's just because. Y'all see it? Nope. That's awesome. That makes me happy. Yeah, seriously, literally only I think Brianna and I are the only two watching that are chiming in that have actually played it. So that's kind of amazing. And that tells me that we absolutely need to get this played sooner rather than later. So John, put it towards the top of the list for me, will you? Okay. All right. So Deluvia Project, which, by the way, there are 2 editions of this game. And I have them both, and I couldn't tell you what the difference is. So when we stream it, I will have answers of all of the questions that I'm posing to myself right now and that you're going to have for me later on. Before we do another Ask the Elephant, I'm going to have streamed this so I don't have to answer those questions. Truth. All right. So clearly, David M., cheers, really enjoyed the monologue that is of 4X. I think that's what this is. Not just listed, but towards the top, John. I need that. So, hey, David M., thank you for the support. Really, really appreciate that. Awesome. Welcome to the herd. Thank you. Yeah, see, Shrey says, I played Deluvia when it first came out, but I have no recollection. And that's how I was. And then I was like, oh, we should try this again. And we played it a number of years later, streamed it. It was great. And then it hasn't hit the table. Once we stream a game, a lot of times it goes away for a number of years because a lot of games in this hobby, y'all might or might not know that. So, yeah. So there's that. All right. All right. So that is a terrible reasoning, but I promise you, in fact, here is my suggestion. A moment. I'm going to answer a couple of the questions right now. So obvious, okay, that's why. So who was the original? Which was the original? So Spielworks and Tasty Minstrel Games are the 2 publishers on this, which means it's out of print. I get that. However, I currently see, look, if you enjoy the types of games that we enjoy, and Brianna, back me up on this, there are currently 8 copies on the BGG marketplace, 3 of which for $50 in the US. You've been warned, because those won't be there by the time we stream it. So if you want to take a risk and you're not sure, it's a really, really enjoyable game. Now, player count wise, let's see what BGG says. Says it's best at 4. Yeah, best at 4. But yeah, develop the Sky City to attract the most population. Again, look, I know I'm not selling it well, but I'm telling you, you're going to want this game after we stream it. Okay? All right? So, anyway, my number 82, Deluvia Project. I enjoy these little off-tangent things. This is how my brain works. Jess she's so patient. She indulges them. Sometimes. Most of the time. Not all the time. Hi, Jess. Hope you're feeling better. My number 81. Marrakesh. This rekindled my enjoyment of Stefan Feld's games. So this came out in 21, I think it was. And I kind of got hoodwinked a little bit into trying the game. And this was, I forget what convention we were at. It might have been PAX Unplugged. Might have been. And Travis over at Queen Games was like, hey, Edward, I think you're going to want to try this. I tried it. He was right. Really enjoy it. It is Cube Tower done right. And it is a bunch of mini games thrown together and nothing really new. And it is a massive box. They have since reprinted it twice with different versions. So I don't know what version to get. I can't help you there. All I know is I really enjoy this game. I don't think, no, we have not played with the expansion, have we? No, we haven't streamed that because I don't have it. That's right. I just really enjoyed the mini games and point salad that Marrakesh brought to the table, and the puzzle of, okay, everybody has this same mix of keshi. Which 3 are you going to put into the cube tower to then potentially activate as the round goes on, or this round? It is such a mechanically pretty simple game and a great point salad. It is a giant footprint of a game, but I really, really was quite smitten with this one, Marrakesh. And I have no idea what Queen Games is doing with their 74 different versions of this game. But the fact is, it's a really good game. So whatever version of that you choose to get or that you're able to get, then great. If you enjoy point salad-y Steffenfeld games, this is maybe one of his best. Certainly of recent years. So Marrakesh, my number 81. On that note, cheers. Man, that'd be cool to hit 800 today, wouldn't it? Oh, that'd be so awesome. I'm happy to hit 792. Don't want to diminish that. So, Lucas G, cheers to you, homie. Thank you for the support. 1 T down. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And look, here's my other impassioned plea about the Patreon drive. Okay, is $5 a month, right? That's $60 a year. Is probably one older game's worth of value there that you're just donating for content that you get free. I hear you. I get that. I totally understand. Because you're watching right now, whether you're a patron or not, you don't have to pay for this. YouTube's free. You may get ads, but I imagine, a lot of y'all are using YouTube Premium. I do. But I would hope that over the course of a year, I do one of 3 things. If I do one of these 3 things at least once in an entire year, I feel like I have earned or held up my end of the bargain. Here they are. In no particular order, taught you a game. Or, if not necessarily taught you the game, made it easier for you to go through the rule book and understand what the rule book is trying to convey to you after having watched me, usually, or maybe somebody else here at our table, teach you how to play the game. And then, the key here, doing a playthrough to try and help cement those rules. Do we occasionally get stuff wrong? Of course. But, again, I don't expect anybody to watch my streams and then be able to sit down and play the game without cracking open the rule book. That feels, not even Rodney, I think, is doing that. All right? So, what my goal is to help it make it way easier for you to go through that rule book and be like, oh, yeah, I totally get what they mean here because I saw it. That's my job. And if I do that, that's number 1. Number 2, maybe we turned you on to a game that you and your game group end up loving that wouldn't have been on your radar otherwise. Or maybe you were on the fence about, and watching the playthrough helped solidify that one way or the other. Maybe, helped you buy it. That's number 2. And I would argue the third is the most important. And that is, maybe we help dissuade you from buying a game that you otherwise would have. Games are expensive nowadays. They ain't getting cheaper. Some of these are really expensive. So if by watching me teach the game and then watching the playthrough, you're like, wow, yeah, no, I thought so, maybe, possibly, or I was really, and now no, I just saved you $100+ for a game that you and your game group, sounds like, weren't going to enjoy. So if I've done one of those three things, $5 a month feels like a fair. So that's from a logical standpoint, I hope that makes sense. Not to mention the Slack channel, the community, and all the patron-only streams that you get. Plus, you get to watch my head explode, yell at rule books in a not so safe for work environment friendly way. So there's that. Okay, cool. So there you go. Or I guess a fourth one Bushman brings up as a refresher. Like maybe you know the game, like Le Havre, right? Like a lot of us have played Le Havre, but we haven't played it in a long time. I had to go refresh, and then you can use the video to go refresh. So win-win. Just saying. That's my argument for why to support, whether it's Heavy Cardboard or someone else, but specifically me and Heavy Cardboard and us. So thank you. All right. Oh, this one will make y'all happy. And then, hold on. I'm going to preamble before I even talk about a game because I haven't preempted, put the number up there. I can do this. This next one is a lose-lose for me. Because if it's not on here, people are going to be like, oh, why didn't you have it on there? I get it. But it's on here. But now you know what I'm going to get? From one person in particular? Oh, it's a criminally low. It's too low. Number 80, Dominant Species Marine. Look, I like the game. I think it does a really novel, cool modernization in some ways of Dominant Species. But it's different. This is different, like Brass Birmingham is different from Brass Lancashire. Everybody has their favorite between them. My favorite is the OG. And I'm right. But that's okay. It's okay. You can be wrong and have that up higher. It's okay. It's allowed. But, yeah. Dominant Species is a great game. In both of its iterations, one is better than the other. So that's all. Yeah. See, Alyssa? You have the right to be wrong. Malachite, you have the right to be wrong. It's okay. Look, Dominant Species is one of the games that got me into the hobby. I think it was the third game I ever played in the hobby. And the dude who taught it, this is how good of a game I find Dominant Species. This is my third game in the hobby at a neighborhood game day. And the dude who taught it was an absolute dick. I mean, primo, not a type of person you would ever want to hang out with. I didn't know at the time. I did by the end of this game. But look, we all have our moments, don't get me wrong, but no, this dude was just, and he was one of those that held back rules and, oh yeah, by the way, and this thing that's about to, crush you. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. Oh God, don't ever do that. Anyway, this game was able to overcome that. Me being that new to the hobby, and it's that good of a game. And that, I mean Dominant Species. And then Dominant Species Marine came along. Really good. It very much changes the game. It has the soul of Dominant Species, but changes a lot of the mechanisms and does so in a really clever way. And I enjoy my plays of it. Just not Dominant Species. So, yeah. So there you go. Cool. Fernando says neither's on his list. I don't even have the words, Fernando. All right. So anyway, dominant species marine, my number 80. Number 79, Wabash Cannonball, also known as Chicago Express. Now, y'all aren't going to like the next thing I say, but that's okay. This is kind of my catch-all for Cube Rails games. I don't have a huge, I'm not married to a specific Cube Rails games. I enjoy playing Cube Rails games, not to the exclusion of any other type of game. And it used to be Irish Gauge, but I've since kind of grown into enjoying Wabash / Chicago Express more. But none of them are distinct enough and have had an impact enough past Chicago Express for me to want to put them in my top 100. That said, I would happily play almost any one of them. If somebody's like, hey, you want to play whatever is, the answer is probably yes. And I enjoy it. Rio Grande is doing a great job, as is Capstone Games, reprinting a lot of these older winsome Cube Rails games. This is kind of my catch-all for all of them. But yeah. One hole in my gaming experience, and if Felix is watching this, he'll cringe, but is a Crayon Rail. I've never played any one of those, and I desperately want to during the Gathering of Friends this year. I want to find out, it's literally you're drawing with a crayon. Rails. I've never played any of those, so I'm curious to, and when I think Cube Rails, Crayon Rails, they're different animals, don't get me wrong, but they came around the same time, although I think Crayon Rails is a little older, doesn't matter. But I would like to experience that, but nonetheless. So my number 79 are Cube Rail games in general, or Wabash Cannonball / Chicago Express, in being specific. All right. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed back into the house after this one, but my number 78 is Gink. Ginkopolis. Great game. Legitimately great game. Jess's number 1 game of all time. I will happily play this anytime she wants. Best at 3 players. Notoriously difficult to teach, but really, really clever card play. Shrey talked about this a lot during our top 20. I think it was top 20. Somebody can refresh my memory on that. But yeah, it's a pretty game in a cartoony, modern, like a near futuristic kind of artwork way. Alyssa's number 38. Okay, all right, fair enough. Oh, we talked about it in both streams a lot, apparently. So there you go. We'll leave it there. I don't need to belabor it. Yeah, I really enjoy the game. I play it whenever Jess wants to play it. I know Steph also has it real high on her list over on Twitch. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, my number 78. Gink. I'm going to end up going downstairs to get some more tea because we're running dangerously low and we're not even halfway. Just saying. New American Underground says, I still can't grok this system. I think I did a pretty good job of teaching this. Or did I do it? Did you? I know we streamed it. Help me out. Huh. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Number 77. the U.S. Civil War. Let me get this is, a moment. I want to make sure I speak correctly about this. Yeah, okay, I did. All right. So U.S. Civil War is a low density hex encounter war game. It's a modern one though, so I think this came out in 15. Yeah, 2015. This isn't a old school hex encounter hardcore grognard. It's not that. It's a hex encounter CDG war game, but low counter density, meaning you don't have stacks of chits that are just in, because that just turns me. That's just too much. No. But the key and why this game, historically, post-Roman times, all the way up to really World War I. Really not a huge fan of that time period historically. However, this is the game that got me turned on to Civil War games, as well as the history of the Civil War. And within that, there are kind of three different levels, scopes, not levels, scopes of war games. There are tactical war games. So those are really zoomed in. So you control a unit, and a unit might just have a handful of people. Okay? Or a couple of units. But a very zoomed in view. That is my least favorite when it comes to war games. You zoom out, and the next level is operational war games. Operational is more like, you've heard the term maybe Operation Market Garden in World War II. That is a bunch of different units, but it might be, the scope might be an entire battle or one larger area, like D-Day, right? So I would say, like, I'm trying to think like examples of these. So D-Day at Omaha Beach, that would be a operational level war game. Okay? And a tactical, I mean, like Ambush is what keeps going to mind, but God, Soldiers and Postmen's Uniforms. Even though I enjoy that game, it's a tactical. Then you have operational. A moment. Oh. I volunteer here in the town with the volunteer group, and we're supposed to take down the Christmas lights in the common. Apparently, can't do it this Saturday. Ground's too soft. Okay, anyway. So operational level. My favorite is strategic level. Strategic is the whole kit and caboodle. Okay? Oh no. Nope, that's on your end, it looks like. Try and refresh, y'all. Everything is working on my end. Oh no, it's a bunch of y'all. Looking. Everything. Oh no. Okay. Good. All right, we're going to continue and assume that everything's working all right. But try and refresh. See if that helps. Okay. Okay, good. So tactical, operational level, strategic level. I prefer strategic level, like God level view, right? You're looking at the whole thing. So U.S. Civil War is a strategic level war game. Low counter density, got me interested in the history of the actual game, or of the conflict, and I prefer strategic level. And this is one of the better ones that I've found so far. It's not without flaws. It is pretty close to a simulation, so it's really difficult for the Confederate side, because this just in, the Confederates lost. So while there is some room to move in there, it's more simulation than it is ability for the Rebs to win. So it's not perfect, but it's my favorite of the Civil War games that I've encountered. So there you go. That is my number 77. We're going to talk about other ones and here in a little bit, but I digress. My number 77, U.S. Civil War. All right. I see that there's some discussion about 18XX going on, so here you go. My number 76, Shikoku 1889. This is the new, I think, this is the new graphic version of it, like the new cover of it. Looks pretty. That's cool. That looks nice. Yeah, so I tend to enjoy the Run Good Company's operations side of 18XX games more than I do the financial shenanigans. That's not to say I don't enjoy that side. I don't have as much experience with that side of the hobby, of that side of that niche of the hobby. So 18XX usually come in two varieties. Run Good Companies, financial shenanigans. Okay? Like I've never played 1817 still, or any of its variants and derivatives and all that. It's a whole. I would love to be able to do that. I'm hoping maybe at the Gathering of Friends. That is a perfect time for me to do it. It's 11 days long. I can dedicate a day to learning or to being taught and playing 1817. Anyway, 1889 is essentially 1830, which is the granddaddy of the financial side of the 18XX games. 1889 is a shorter version, a smaller version, a slimmed down version of 1830. I enjoy 1889 more than I do 1830. People are asking out there, what games, like if I want to get into 18XX, where do I jump in? Whoo! You ask 30 people, you get 30 different answers. So I'll just be one of those 30. Honestly, Railways of the Lost Atlas is going to be really hard to argue against because of it does everything. It's mostly a Run Good Company's game, but everything about it, the way the rules are written, the presentation, it's pretty. It's easy to get into. We broke Kyle into it, and he did a really good job, and then he learned some lessons, and he's really enjoyed it. So I would argue Railways of the Lost Atlas is a great jumping off point. In addition to that, 1889 is certainly a good jumping off point for the financial side. Like you could come in cold. 1846 is another one that is on the Run Good Companies, but that one's a bit of an odd duck in that it has some non-standard MacGuffins or Chrome or I shouldn't use the word MacGuffin when people don't know. MacGuffins are like peculiarities of the standard, right? Outliers in the rules. I'm trying to think what else. There are others that I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head. So 1889, 1830, either one is fine. 46, Railways of the Lost Atlas. An argument could be made. This is not a hill I'm going to die on, but an argument could be made 1862 also. And the reason for 1862 is because of the fact that it is one of the only soloable 18XX games. So you can learn it at your own speed. 18 Chesapeake, that's the other one I'm thinking of. I'll come back to that. So 1862, it's soloable. It's great 1 to 6 players. However, it has a lot of Chrome, a lot of MacGuffins, a lot of non-standard. It basically throws you into the deep end and says swim. So it is not normally recommended as a first, babies first to 18XX. However, because it has that soloable aspect of it, you can learn it at your own pace. And it teaches you, it's kind of 3 games all rolled into one because it has different trains that normally in an 18XX, they only have one type of train. And the fact that this has 3 different types, so it shows you a lot of different variations of the system within one game. And basically, if you can handle that, you can handle anything just about 18XX will throw at you. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some really, really big ones out there. 1817, where you can short companies. That's a financial little twerk thing that is going to go next level. There is 59, 63, 69, I can't remember, that allows companies to invest in other companies. So there's some stuff out there. But my point is, the argument for 62 is if you do 62, you're good for a lot of them. And here's the cool thing about 18XX. There's a million of them out there now. If you get 3 or 4, you're good. You don't need any more than that. Hell, I could make the argument 1 or 2, really. But 18 Chesapeake was designed specifically to be a smaller version of 1889, which is a smaller version of 1830, and a really good jumping off point. It really, really is. It slipped my mind. So 18 Chesapeake would be another. So, again, 1830 is the OG grandfather of the financial side. So, decent jumping off point. If you want a little bit smaller, 1889. You want a little bit more newbie friendly and smaller, 18 Chesapeake. Cool thing about Chesapeake, it's good for beginners, but also good for experienced players. So people aren't like, I don't want to play this anymore. No, there's a lot of game in Chesapeake. So all 3 of those on the financial side. On the Run Good Company side, Railways of the Lost Atlas, I think that's probably going to be my go-to for Euro gamers getting into 18XX. But as it is, that's one option. 1846 certainly is a good option. And 46, Railways of the Lost Atlas. And 62, if you want a soloable one. And that 62 that solo is so good. So good. Mike Hutton did an amazing job with that game. All right. Anyway. So that is my ode to 18XX games. And number 76. Shikoku is set in Japan. 1889. But yeah, good. Yeah, all right. I hear you. Cougar DC says, I just turned the stream on like 5 minutes ago. And while Shikoku 1889 has been on the screen, Edward hasn't mentioned it once in this 5 minutes. I hear you. I'm talking about jumping off points, entry points for 18XX and trying to go through each one. And this was my opportunity to do so. But also you can go watch the other videos and go watch me talk about Railways of the Lost Atlas as a really good one. So yeah. Anyway. That's 1889, a great jumping off point if you want a smaller version of 1830. Okay? All right. I see you. It's a fair point. I hear you. All right. So that's my number 76. My number 75, Rococo. It's right in the middle. It's the quintessential midweight Euro. That is such a white box. Like, that is offensively white. I love Ian. Ian and I are buds. But, oh, my God, that cover. That is so much white. It's so much white. So, regardless of what version of Rococo that you may get, Rococo is the game that I use to judge all other... It's kind of the K-list test for midweight Euros. Would I rather be playing Rococo? So... That's really what it comes down to. Rococo has a really clever hand management system while also being just super pleasant and just a wonderful time gaming. And a beautiful presentation with that edition. And I'll be honest, the original one was real pretty too. This one's prettier. I just don't like the box because it's so much white. But outside of that, Rococo, really, really solid. Really solid. Midweight Euro. Big fan. Oh, look at that. We're on to the other scene now. 75. This is a good point. I'm going to run downstairs and go get my other tea now. So if you all would give me 37 seconds. On your mark. Get set. Go. Got a little half sweet, half unsweet tea. Here we go. Come on. Oh, come on. There we go. I saw that. Apparently it took a few extra seconds too long. Oh, well. Oh. Oh, iced tea. Man, that's delicious. All right. So let's now that the mods are done messing with me, let's turn that back on. Yeah, I don't like that. We could do purple, but it doesn't show up real well. So green it is. We'll go green. There we go. All right. I would love to see it blink green. That'd be cool. 8 more times. Oh, I appreciate that, John. All right. All right, here we go. Number 74. Aeon's End. Now, this is also a stand-in a bit for, what's the other one? Let me get that. That is, I'm looking. Astro Knights is the other, if you prefer the sci-fi version. They might be different, but, you know, whatever. So why Aeon's End? What is it about the game? I'm going to make some enemies out there, but I really, really, really admire and appreciate and enjoy somewhat Mage Knight. Mage Knight is arguably the best solo game in existence for a lot of people. And I'm not saying those people are wrong. What I'm saying is I have found the limit of where too much is, and Mage Knight is just too much. For a solo game, for a solo experience. Now, for a tag team solo, because we started doing tag team solos after the fact, maybe not. So maybe I could revisit that as a tag team solo. But as a solo, Mage Knight, which is the Hall of Fame solo game, it's just too much for me. It's just not more than I want out of the game. And then Aeon's End came across my radar, and we worked with Indie Boards and Cards with this one. And I'll tell you what, this gave me a lot, not all, but a lot of the aspects of Mage Knight, but in a much more bite-sized piece that was manageable in a single session. And it didn't feel just excessive over the top too much. And it hits right for me. So yeah, Aeon's End, while not a one-to-one comparison on Mage Knight, let's be clear, I get most of what I want out of Mage Knight in Aeon's End. And so therefore, again, Astro Knights, whatever. This hits better for me. Oh God. Oh, Scott says I play Mage Knight with 4 players. It's not a 4-player game. It's a solo game. Don't know. There you go. Oh, yeah. So Mage Knight, go watch my solo streams of it. I think I did 3 of them. And I would totally be down if they, like Kyle, like I imagine Kyle would be the one, or John would be the one that would enjoy doing a tag team solo of those. But anyway, Aeon's End, my number 74 for that solo Mage Knight light experience. So that may come as a surprise to a lot of y'all, but there you go. My number 74. My number 73 was in my top 20 for a very long time. That's Shipyard. Whether it's first or second edition, whatever you can get. I think this is Rondell the game, but not made by Matt Gertz. And yeah, this has been my favorite Vladimir Sui game. I keep feeling like no matter how I pronounce his last name, Vladimir Suchi or Vladimir Sui, no matter how I pronounce it, it's wrong. So I'm trying. But yeah, this has been my number 1 of his for a very long time. And I think that continues to be. I'm actually going and double checking and making sure if I have any others. So it would be, of all of them, it'd be Evacuation, not Praga. Yeah, I think so. This is the highest Vladimir Sui game that I have. And it has been for ever since I played it. It has a bunch of rondels. It's about building ships and sending them out on their shakedown cruises. And I am just really, really smitten with this game. I got bit by this many years ago, and it remains one of my, I mean, obviously it's, 73? So it's still in my top 100. I will almost never turn down a game of Shipyard. So yeah, I really, really enjoy this one. My number 73, Shipyard. So remember when I said I broke my rule about fillers? So Lux Aeterna, my number 72. The listed playtime on this bad boy is 6 minutes to 15 minutes. This is another soloable game, and it's a real-time game designed by Tony Boydell that I was just looking for something to stream one day, and I busted this out, and oh my God, did this surprise the hell out of me. It's a real-time game, so shouldn't like it. Looking at you, Millennium Blades. So, and it's a soloable, just little space survival game that is just so damn clever and works so damn well. I was blown away. I had 0 expectations, so it didn't exceed my expectations. I thought it was just going to be sure, I'll stream this today. All right, whatever, type thing. And come to find out, ended up loving the game. Yeah, it comes in a little tiny box. It's very simple. And apparently, I don't know if they have come out with a newer, like a newer game in the system, if you will. But they were, I know he was working on it. I just don't know if it came out or not. And if so, I haven't played it. But as it is, Lux Aeterna, if you're looking for a little pocket, soloable, 15-minute little hoo-yah, that's going to stress you out, something fierce that's amazing, Lux Aeterna. Definitely can recommend. So, yeah. That's That hit really well for me. Surprised, no conversation on that one. All right, moving on. Number 71, Carnegie or Carnegie, however you want to pronounce that. We talked a lot about this because it's higher on at least Derek's and Shrey's. I can't remember on Ken. It was definitely in their top 50. I think this might have been in Derek's top 10. We talked a lot about this, so honestly, go watch those. I really enjoy the game. The thing that I'm most impressed with about this game was the development curve on this, on how they went about doing this. It was available, or it was up for order on Kickstarter, and they made I think it was Board Game Arena, made that available to folks. People played the hell out of it, gave feedback based on that. They tuned and tweaked and turned it into just a fantastic game, using that feedback and using that in such a good way. That is such a marvel and such a benchmark for companies to maybe think about doing that in the future. They did a really great game on that. So yeah, my number 71, Carnegie. Steven is finally clued in on that. That's funny. Steven says, anyone else detect a suspicious similarity to the list in the Name That game from last night? Just saying, there may have been some foreshadowing on there, but you didn't know it at the time. But not necessarily, because not all these are there. But yeah, I thought I'd mix it in and give a little bit of Easter eggs for y'all. So yeah, that was not on accident. Oh boy. I'll be honest, I'm so dreading so many of these coming up. Why aren't they higher? Yeah, whatever. Number 70, Arcs. Could have been lower. Certainly wasn't going to be higher. I know, fighting words. I really like Arcs. It's in my top 70. However, and this is, I'm going to basically regurgitate the same things I said on the previous streams, but I'm going to do it quicker on this one. The standalone with leaders in lore, there are some people out there that say, I just don't ever want to play it without the campaign game. I think that's wow, that's crazy talk to me. I really enjoy the standalone game with leaders and lore. I think it is a fantastic game, and if that were the only thing, I might have this higher. However, you can't talk about Arcs and not talk about the Blighted Reach, which is the expansion. It's not an expansion. You buy it separately, but it's the campaign game. And that's how the majority of people are wanting, how they think of Arcs. The first two games in the campaign can be great or at worst, good. The third game is, as Kyle likes to say, Calvin Ball. It is just absolute chaos, madness, craziness, bizarre, and it's so much to manage that it's just chaos, and it's not about being able to control things. It's about having agency. And I feel like in the third game in the campaign, you just don't have nearly enough agency in the game. And I struggle with that. And that's why I don't have it higher. Is the third game is a detriment. Now, in a completely unrelated yet related way, it's the same reason it's not Space Alert, it's the Space Corp. It's the same reason Space Corp doesn't work for me. In a sense that the third game, or the third arc in Space Corp, is so unconnected to the first two that I'm like, what? No, this isn't the same game. While it is the same game in Arcs, it's just total chaos. And so for me, that knocks it down. That keeps it from being higher. So that's all. Does that mean it's not a great experience and I don't want to play it more? No, it's number 70 on my list. But am I, oh, we need to? No, I mean, we do because I know y'all are excited about it. And so I'm excited about it in that regard. But from a, is it my favorite? No, it's my 70th favorite. So that's where Arcs falls for me. Okay? So there we go. I feel like some of these I'm having to make justifications on. I'm going to stop that now. I'm just going to explain it, and that's why. I say that just in time for all these. Number 69, Brass Lancashire. Look, Brass is a great game. Both Brasses are great games. I got to be in the right mindset to want to play them. I have to be in the right, just in the right frame of headspace to be able to play it because they are tight, they are difficult, they are hard, they are great. They are peculiar that I find myself often when somebody's like, hey, why don't we bust out Brass? I am like, what's at the other table? And then making my decision. It's not, oh yeah, I want to play Brass. Just got to be in the right headspace. So whether that is for Brass Lancashire at number 68 or Brass Birmingham, number 68, 69 respectively. So for those, they're different. They are their own animal. They are different games. As you know, Brass Birmingham won the Golden Elephant Award. Just got to be in the right mood. This is not anytime I'm down to play that. I'm not. I got to be in the right, but when I do, it's a thoroughly fantastic game, and I'm loved that we played it. I just got to be in the right headspace. My list. Speaking of being in the right mood, number 67, Food Chain Magnate. Also a Golden Elephant Award winner. Just got to be in the right mood for all the reasons that I mentioned on the previous plays or on the previous lists. Because Ken had this way, way, way higher on his list. Top 5, maybe top 3. And for me, it's one of those not quite lifestyle games, but absolutely requires repeated plays to be competent at. And I'm not going to be competent at. And so you can sometimes get trapped in a game for 4 hours where you're just out. There's just nothing you can, like, you're just do the best you can, but you're nowhere near, and it just gets worse. It compounds. So if I'm in the right mood to get whomped on or to have that experience, I'm okay getting whomped on. I just got me in the right headspace to be able to play this game because I know it's probably going to happen. So, but it is a fantastic design. I appreciate it. I enjoy the game. I just have it lower on my list than a lot of other folks. All right, so I just saw this come in. So I guess by that rationale, there we go. So David C, cheers, thank you. Just straight up, just sent money via Patreon or via PayPal. So thank you for that, David. We'll get that managed, even though that didn't blink. Cheers. Thank you for the support. All right. Moving up. Number 66. Neue Heimat from Chili Spiel. Now, we recently played Hinkenstein by Chili Spiel, but this is definitely one of their most popular games of all time. This is way out of print, and this is the game as I know it, Neue Heimat. It's a very, very mean game, but it is so deliciously good. Now, in all seriousness, most of y'all probably don't know it by that name. you know it by The Estates from Capstone Games. Very mean auction game that is just delicious. Doesn't hit the table hardly ever anymore for us, but oh, is this a fun one. Also, I mean, you can make the case you got to be in the right mood for any of these games, so I'm going to stop saying that. But that said, Neue Heimat / The Estates, oh, they are deceptively devilish in how mean these games can be, but they have a little bit of toy appeal as well, but very much made for adults that hate each other or want to hate each other for an hour or so. Really, really great game. The Estates / Neue Heimat, my number 66. Moving on to number 65, Triumph and Tragedy, European Balance of Power, 1936 and 1945, also known as TNT, or Triumph and Tragedy. Now, I enjoy block war games. This is my stand-in for, this is the best grand strategic. It's not really grand strategic. This is a strategic game. Reference the stuff I said earlier. I am still looking for my big, real, this is the strategic war game that was made for me. I've yet to find it. This is the closest that I've encountered so far. It's a mix of block war game and other stuff. And it happens to be the Eastern Theater in World War II, which has been done. I'm sorry, the Western Theater, right? Yeah, because the other one, the European Theater. Let's try that. And so this is the best one that I've encountered so far, but I am desperately looking for a strategic or a grand strategic level game. And that could be Eastern Front. That could be Europe Engulfed. That could be any number of these other block war games that I am desperate to play that I just need to get the guys on board with to play them with me. And I need to sit down and dedicate myself to learning them. And so if y'all have any suggestions out there that are watching this, that have, this is a great, just great strategic or grand strategic. Doesn't have to be a block war game, but war game, low counter density. If it's not a block war game, then please let me know. Leave the comment down below, or if you're in chat right now, tell me. But this is my stand-in for that. I've enjoyed my plays of Triumph and Tragedy. I think we streamed this one. So yeah, my number 65. My number 64, another VTOL game, Inventions. I didn't want to fill all of my top 50 with a bunch of these. And honestly, this one is a bit, it's a civilization game, VTOL style, I guess would be a way to put it. What is my phone blowing up for? Oh, I'm getting updates on the Reds. Okay. All right, cool. It's spring training. I care, but I care less. The Levian campaign games, the time period, it make that really difficult, Caladan, for me, but I have not. So, anyway, Inventions. This is a bear to teach, and this is a game that I enjoy tag team solo, not solo, but I enjoy playing. It is, like I said, I love civilization games. Probably my favorite genre, I think. There still hasn't been the perfect through the ages is as close as I've come, but this is VTOL's take on a civilization game, and I really dig it. It is a bear to teach, but it's worth it. I really enjoy this game. So, Inventions, my number 64. Number 63 is Churchill. The Big Three Struggle for Peace. I am retired from this game. I don't know if I will ever play this game again. And that's because on a day we went to Mark Herman's summer home out on the Cape. Jess and I sat down with Mark Herman, and the three of us played this game, and I beat them both. So I don't know that I'm going to have much of a gaming experience that eclipses that of Churchill. So therefore, I think I'm retired from this game. That said, this does an amazing job of that push-pull mechanism that Weimar took, or has in it, whatever, because Weimar came after the fact, that really works really, really well in this 3-player game. And unfortunately, I have still yet to play Versailles 1919. I'm hoping to get that played either at HeavyCon or the Gathering of Friends. But that is basically the World War I newer version of Churchill with Versailles. I just haven't played it yet. And so that said, Churchill is my best experience with that, and I loved it. Not just that one specific game of Jess and Mark Herman, which that was pretty epic, not gonna lie. That was a lot of fun, but the actual game mechanisms in this is just really, really well done. If you've never encountered this, I would recommend going and taking a look, delving into it, see if it's your bag. But that kind of push-pull mechanism of it, of winning, it's a war game without it being a war game. And it's just really, really clever. Really well done. So you have to team up again to fight off the Germans and the Japanese. In a side game of it. So you need to cooperatively work on that together while also setting yourself up for when the war ends, being in a good position. However, one of the hooks in this game is you have to defeat the Axis first off, or you all lose. And secondly, you can't win do so well for your side that the other sides lose too much at the end of the game, because then you don't win. And that is such a clever balancing act, and that models history. You want the upper hand, you just don't want it all, because then you're going to be hated. And it's just really, really well done. So highly recommend checking out Churchill, my number 63. Number 62, Horseless Carriage. A lot of folks were shocked that none of us had Horseless Carriage in our top 50. Well, it resides here. Again, not all the Splotters, not all the VTOL games, not all the Cole games were going to be in the top 50. Because, let's face it, being honest, the hobby is much bigger than just those three, obviously. Although some of y'all would argue against that. I get that. And to me, I'm an omni-gamer. I want better representation of the games that I like. So this fits right. This is, of the big six, I would say, yeah, I think it falls at number 5 for me, right? Not giving away any spoilers here, because most of y'all have watched the other top 50, but you're looking at Antiquity, Indonesia, Roads and Boats, Great Zimbabwe, this, and then there's Bus. So, yeah, no, this feels right. Really good game. If anybody ever wants to say, again, got to be in the mood, yeah. But pretty much across the board, hey, somebody want to play Horseless Carriage? I'm down, let's do it. So, my number is 62. Great game. Whew, I'm going to take a drink before this one. Hold on, there's a bot over on Twitch. Let's kill that. Dead. Ping. All right. Oh, and Food Chain Magnate. 7. See? I forgot it, and you just saw Food Chain, so there you go. 7. All right. We ready for this one? Number 61. It's the coin system. This is the one spot on this list that feels a little cheaty to me. I'll grant you that. I'm not going to justify it. I'm just going to explain why this is the way it is. I have played Cuba Libre, Andean Abyss, Fire in the Lake, Colonial Twilight, Liberty or Death, and probably a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head. Okay. Vijay Nagara. Fine, it's the irregular, but yeah, it's a coin. Here's the problem. None of those have I played enough to put into my top whatever list. I like this system, and I like it more the more I play it. However, I don't have enough experience with one particular game to feel like that it's representative, that it's fair, that it's honest. So this is the most honest way of doing this for me. If I didn't do this, because Cuba Libre, I think, is the game I've played the most, and it's a little too restrictive because of the map, so it wouldn't be in my top 100. So therefore, none of them would be in my top 100. But I enjoy the game system a lot, and I would like to play it more, and I want to play it more. I just haven't. And so therefore, at 61, we have the coin system as opposed to a particular title. I know, y'all are going to be like, oh, you need to go play X. I know. There are far more of them out and coming out than you're likely to ever see on Heavy Cardboard. GMT, for whatever reason, has chosen to go in different directions than work with us on that. But it's just not ever going to, there's just too many of them. So while I love this system, and we will stream them, and we will play them more, it's just any one particular title, probably not going to happen. So, yeah. So anyway, that's coin system. Amazing system. Can't wait to play a lot of them. They're sitting, a lot of them, right there. Just a matter of making schedules work with everybody. My number 60, and this shocks the hell out of me, Railways of the Lost Atlas. This is the newest game that I've played that made my top 100. This came out of nowhere as far as I'm concerned to make my top 100. I expected to hate this game. I expected it to feel bleh when I sat down to play it, because even though I'm not as big into it's got to have a historically accurate map like Martin Fowler is, Martin the Elder. Most games where you build your own map don't work. It just doesn't work the way, it doesn't make for a good game experience. Much less for an 18xx game experience. And I am thrilled to be proven totally wrong and feeling way off base my initial impression, or my pre-impression, of what Railways of the Lost Atlas was going to be. I was blown away at how well this made the map building worked, but then made a finite amount of round game of 18xx work, and work really, really well. Just, I expect this to rise over the years in my favorites list. And I think it was this is, like I said earlier, one of the best, if not the best, jumping off places now for 18xx. And I love that I keep saying that as new games come out. Like at first there was 46. And then after 46, it was 89, I think. And then after 89, it was Chesapeake. and now it's Railways of the Lost Atlas. So, yay. It's only broadening the ability for people to reach more esoteric aspects of the hobby with these more approachable games. So that's a win for everybody. So yeah, really, really big fan with that. So that is my number 60, Railways of the Lost Atlas. It's really good. All right, we have reached the final 9, I guess, right? Yeah. All right, moving on to number 59, Lisboa. Another Golden Elephant Award winner that kind of fell out of favor for me a little bit after playing the hell out of this for a while. Just burned out on it. And then really didn't want to play it anymore. And then streamed it solo. Maybe it was tag team solo, it doesn't matter. And then we played it multiplayer. I think that was the order of how we did that. And I remember just how damn good this game is. And how beautiful it is. And how thematic it is. And how well it works. So yeah, I'm down to play Lisboa anytime people want to play it. So my number 59 from Vital, Lisboa. Sticking with Golden Elephant Award winners, apparently. Number 58, Arkwright. Beige, the game. So this is getting a second, or Arkwright 2? There was Arkwright the card game, which I've yet to experience. But this is getting a new, something is coming out with this, and I'm really intrigued on this. But Arkwright is a very heavy, very hard, very spreadsheet-looky game that I love. Economic modeling type game that has an insert that I'm grateful I have for it. Makes setting up all those little workers much, much easier. And Arkwright will forever remain in my collection. It's a game that I almost never get to the table anymore, but I would totally be down for if people wanted to play it. Just, yeah. So, heavy economic simulation game that, yeah, I want to play more. So, Arkwright. Anyway, my number 58. Moving on to 57. This game I forgot to put on my list of my original 97. Age of Industry. So this is brass light, honestly, in a lot of ways. But also, it takes the expandability and the MacGuffin, change a little bit of the rules and change the map, and you have a new iteration of Age of Industry. It takes kind of that from Power Grid / Age of Steam and does that for brass. And that is fantastic. It is a little bit more wide open, a little bit more open than brass. And so it can be more approachable for folks. And I don't need to be in the mood as much to be able to play this as I do either of the brass games. And I would love to see Age of Industry get the Age of Steam treatment in that people can make new maps for it and use that system to expand the game. I think it's ripe for it. A lot of us here at HCHQ have had that discussion, and I think both the system and the hobby would be there to support it. I just don't know if anybody wants to do that. But if they do, I'm here for it. Please do. So Age of Industry, brass light, kind of, but also its own animal. So my number 57 and higher on the other guys' lists as well. All right. Number 56, Coffee Traders. From Andre Spiel and Rolf Segel, same designers of my number 21 game, Wildcatters. This was their follow-up game to Wildcatters. And a very hard but enjoyable, hell, I don't even know what you call this game. What kind of action selection game, I guess, mechanism-wise? Sort of? Yeah, huh. Anyway, I have played it with and without the mini expansion or the expansion that is going to be published from a publisher here, so hopefully within the next year. Nice production on this from Capstone Games, and a hard game to be able to play well, and follows in the footsteps of Wildcatters in that they take known mechanisms and introduce them in unique ways and make for a really interesting game. The theme on this is fine. I would have much preferred if they kept the OG theme on that. And for those that don't know, a little behind baseball secret, not secret, but the original theme on this for Coffee Traders, instead of it being trading in the Dutch city of Antwerp, it was about the cocaine dealing business of governments during World War I. And so may or may not be known that the Dutch were facilitators. I don't know if it was cocaine or methamphetamine. Speed, right? I forget which it was. And was it World War I or World War II? Oh, I'm rusty now. Anyway, the Dutch government did a very good job of being a drug dealer for both sides in the war. And that was the original theme. Instead of coffee trading, it was street pharmaceutical trading. And back in the early and mid 20th century. Yeah. Now, marketability might be a little bit more difficult on that theme, granted. But oh my God, I would have loved that because it's historical. It's not glamorizing it. It's not making it, but it's historical. It's a dark little chapter of Dutch history, but that would have been fantastic. Yeah, fair. That I think it was World War I. That's a good point. Anyway, yeah, but as it is, even with the newer theme and the more palatable to more people theme, Coffee Trader is a really great game. And the expansion is really enjoyable, and I hope we've streamed it for the patrons. I think we streamed it publicly as well. And they are actively working with the publisher to get that published. Fingers crossed that that'll actually come to fruition. So I hope so. So my number 56, Coffee Traders. Excuse me. Number 55, The Gang. Probably the biggest shock. I thought Railways of the Lost Atlas surprised me. No. This is the biggest surprise game that I have played since I've been in the hobby. And what I mean by that is, for those that don't know, I used to play professionally. I used to play poker professionally and play cash games only, not tournaments. But I still, as a second source of income, play cards as a profitable recreational player. But so I really enjoy playing poker. It is one of the true loves of of hobbies for me. I would still consider board games my true love as far as it's my job, but it's also a hobby, right? But poker is right below it. Whether that's Texas Hold'em predominantly or PLO, 7 stud, limit Hold'em, whatever. So Chinese poker. All right, anyway. The Gang. A lot of the patrons out there and folks that watch this channel know that about me and know I am a big fan of playing poker. And so everybody and their mother, when this came out, were like, oh, you got to play The Gang, you got to play The Gang, you got to play The Gang. I dragged my feet on it because just like chess derivatives, poker derivatives just suck almost universally. There is the super rare exception. So I came into this like, yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Wrong. Straight up blown away by this game. Completely blown away. It's a very simple premise. It is a purely cooperative game, which makes no sense since poker is a gambling game in which it's everybody for themselves. But what this is you get dealt 2 cards. You get, for those unfamiliar with Hold'em, Texas Hold'em, you get dealt what's called 2 hole cards. You look at them. And there's a round of betting. Then there is a community set of 3 cards called the flop, get dealt out. Round of betting. Then a 4th community card called the turn, round of betting. And then the 5th and final card, which is the river, and then a round of betting. And then whoever has the best hand at showdown, if there is a showdown, if you make it that far, and there are multiple, if there is more than one player left in the hand, whoever has the best 5-card hand out of those players wins the pot. Well, what the gang does is it takes that, but does it cooperatively with 0 verbal communication. In a 5-player game, let's say, everybody gets dealt 2 hole cards, and then there are chips. They're poker chips, but they could just be anything, numbered 1 through 5. Do I think, and everybody waits, and then they take a chip to signify the strength of their hand. I think I have the strongest hand. I think I have the weakest hand. I think I have a middle of the range hand. And you can take a chip from a player that's taken a chip, or you can take one that hasn't been taken yet. And that continues with no verbal communication until all the chips have been taken, meaning there's 1 chip in front of each player. At that point, then we proceed to the next street. That's the betting aspect of this game. And then by the end, obviously, as more cards come out, your relative hand strength may change. And so what matters and where the co-op comes in is by the end of the river, all 5 of you have to, whoever has the strongest hand has to have the number 1 chip. Whoever has the weakest has to have the 5. So you have to get all of that correct. And if you succeed, you do this over the course of 3 to 5 hands of poker. If you succeed, you turn over a card that makes the game harder or easier depending on if you won or lost. If you lost, it makes the game easier. If you won that hand, it makes it harder. And you either succeed 3 times or you fail 3 times. That's it. And it's freaking genius. And you don't have to play poker to play this game. And I would argue the more you play poker, the harder this is, and it makes for an amazing experience. This is perfect at what it does. And the only reason this isn't higher on my list is because I set a rule for myself that fillers cannot be in my top 50. But this is number 55, The Gang. And if any of what I just explained to you sounds good, go do it. You don't need to buy the game, but look, go and support it. It's in stock. It's available. Go and buy the game. It's so good. It's so freaking good. I don't ever have to be in the mood to play this, and I will play this. It's so good. I love that game. Biggest surprise the entire 13 years I've been in the hobby. Number 54. Raw. This is one of the 4 games that I had to apologize to. I went and apologized to it. I had to do it to somebody else's copy because I don't own Raw. I don't have that version, and I want that version, sadly, so I don't own it. But I went and apologized to it for not making my top 50. But Raw, one of the Knizia Big 3, again, Medici, Raw, Modern Art. You've seen all of them on my list now. And I have never once won this game. I have come very close a couple of times. I lost by 1 point to William Mattia last year at the Gathering, and I'm still sour about that. I'm really bummed about it. But this plays differently but great 3, 4, and 5, and it's an auction game with a little bit or a bit of push your luck, and it's a perfect version of what it is. Like, it's just fantastic. And Jakob's just wrong. Says worst game on any of the lists. Absolutely, you hate it. You are wrong, but that's okay. Raw is spectacularly good. Really, really good. If you haven't played it, play it. Don't listen to Jakob. Number 54, Raw on my list. Number 53, Pax Porfiriana, the OG PAX game. This is the game that started the PAX series. Oh my God, it is ugly. And it is information dense on those cards. But the game that lies within it tells a story so good if you want it to tell the story. You could play this mechanically, and it's still a fantastic game. This game got me into listening and learning about the Mexican Revolution, which I thought was just about the time period that this game models, the Porfirian dynasty, if you will, the Porfirian time frame. It is not. It is so much bigger than that. But this game got me into that and learning about history, and I love that board games do this. But this is the PAX game that started it all. It's not my favorite, but it is way up there. It is such a good game. It has a new edition coming out. I'm curious to see how the graphic design has changed on this one. And yeah, really, really good. And I understand how some people feel about the designer. I respect that. I'm able to separate designer, like artist and art. And so, therefore, I can still enjoy Pax Porfiriana. My number 53, if you haven't played it, I can recommend it. I think there are better PAX games, but it's really damn good. So, my number 53, Pax Porfiriana. 2 left, y'all. Moving on to number 52, Furnace. We've reached the part of my list here where some of these games, kind of like how Ken's top 10, like these are the best implementations of what it does. Furnace boils down a auction mechanism coupled with a resource conversion game better than any game in existence, boiled down to just those two things, and that's it. And it does it spectacularly well. And this is a game that the expansion is not required, but it certainly makes the game better. And in addition to that, the advanced variant, however, is a mandatory way to play the game. The advanced variant, let me give a high-level premise on how the game works first off, is every player has a set of auction discs. You auction for cards. The cards are strictly resource conversion machines. That's all they do. Input, output. Some just output, some just input to output and convert to eventually turn things into victory points. That's it. That's it. You just have an auction to get these machines, and then you run the machines. That's it. The base version of how to play it is when you win a machine, you choose where to place it, or you just put it in front of you. And then, after all the auctions are done, you then pick and choose the order in which you run the machines. Maybe I run my second machine first, then I run my fifth machine, then I run my first machine, and all that. That is an AP nightmare that is just terrible. Do not play it that way. Hard stop. The advanced variant says that when you win a machine, you then slot it in anywhere you want it. You want to put it at the end, so it's your machine number 1. You want to put it at the other end, so it's your machine last, whatever that number is, whether it's number 2 or whether it's number 10. Or you slot it in between machine number 2 and 3. And so now it's machine number 3. And here's the difference. You then, when it's your turn, after all the auctions are done, this happens simultaneously, everybody runs their machines left to right. There is no picking and choosing. Sure, it may cause a little bit of AP of, oh shoot, I should have put that over here, or maybe you planned for that, and so there's a little bit of AP inducing beforehand. But what it does is it removes that, I'm going to run number 4, then 2, then 3, then 1, then, oh, hell no. Just run it left or right. If you slotted it in the wrong spot, guess what? It's a 45-minute game, and that's okay. We can play it again. And it massively improves the game. So, yeah. But Furnace is pretty close to perfect, taking a auction and marrying it to a resource conversion game and boiling it down to a 45-minute little thinky filler. But my God, is this thing good. And the Interbellum expansion is definitely recommended. Once you include it, you'll never not include it. But you don't have to have it, but strongly encourage. All right? So, yeah, that it is so freaking good. Again, thinky filler, number 52. And finally, my last 100th game. Oh my God, I've talked a lot of games this week. My number 51, and the game that I truly picked up and had a conversation with. Craftsman by Krzysztof Matuczyk. It's 2014, I think. Maybe a little bit later. If you're colorblind, I apologize. This game just sucks for you. Doesn't work. I'm sorry. It's an older game before games started to focus on that. So I would love for this to get reprinted. That'd be awesome. This is the first game that I encountered. It is a worker placement game that intentionally makes things harder on the player. In a sense that it forces you get buildings after you have run buildings so that you have to plan for them the following turn. It uses commodity or money cards for commodities and vice versa, and it is so freaking good. I turned Shrey and Ken onto this game, and they absolutely loved it. This is a game that I would love to play more, and if I did, it would still be in my top 50. This is really, really worth hunting down. Or maybe if there's enough of a outpouring of support on BGG, maybe folks can hope somebody will pick this up, put a fresh coat of paint on it so the colorblind out there can enjoy this as well, and fix a couple of graphic design issues on the board and get this one reprinted, because I think there's definitely an audience. This is kind of the early version of a modern Euro, where things were they made it hard for hard's sake, but it was an intentional design that just works and makes the game better and just sings. I would love to play this game right now. Well, okay, maybe not now. I need a break today, but tomorrow. I can't tomorrow because of Stressbotics Odyssey, but you get the idea. So, yeah. That is my number 51, and yes, I went and picked it up and had a conversation with it. And apologize that it just missed my 50. So, my number 51, Craftsman. And thus ends my top 100 of all time of right now. That's a lot of games, yo. That was fun, though. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope what I would like to hear from y'all is how many of these games either you own or are on your list from Heavy Cardboard, whether it's Heavy Cardboard a decade ago or Heavy Cardboard today. That's what I want to know. That's what I'm most curious to hear about. I mean, sure, there are going to be people calling me an idiot because I don't have the game X or that game Y is too low. I get it. That's fine. You know what I'm not going to do about your list? Do that to you. But that's okay. Come at me because I feel pretty confident that my favorite top 100 is my favorite top 100. So if you're a patron, again, I apologize. We should have started the patron-only stream 15 minutes ago. That got canked. That's happening in a couple weeks. If you're not a patron, or even if you are, tomorrow is going to be one of the biggest games in the history of Heavy Cardboard. 1822, High Frontier for All, and tomorrow, Stressbotics Odyssey. Stressbotics Odyssey is going to start. We're going to start the stream at 4:30 Eastern with me teaching. I think John's going to be here then, and then the other fellas are going to join us about 6 p.m. I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be a big one. So I hope you all join and show up and show out for that one. If you enjoyed the stream, you find value, again, reference what I said around number 80. Certainly would appreciate y'all like and subscribe. It really, really does help the channel. And please consider supporting the channel, patreon.com/HCHQ. We have 5. Let's see. Today's 21, 22, 23, 24. We have 5 days left. Trying to get that to 850. So, and hopefully that 850 sticks around for more than just 1 month. I certainly would appreciate that. You get a bunch of benefits. Go check them out. Patreon.com/HCHQ. Thank you, everybody, for the support. We have a ridiculous weekend coming up for y'all. We have Stressbotics tomorrow. We have an interview with Jeff Spear about High Frontier. And then we have Joshua Acosta from Neon Comic Games joining us for 2 Age of Steam maps Saturday, as well as a little surprise for y'all. And then on Sunday, Molly House. So hopefully y'all join us for all of those. I'm Edward. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow night or afternoon, 4:30. Later, y'all. Bye.